everyone. You've learned something tonight. I'm sure you will. I'm Mayor Eidam, and again, it's a pleasure to have all of you tonight. Our special guest tonight has served Thornton Township as assessor since 2013. She represents our 17 township municipalities with a combined population of more than 168,000 people. Her office maintains property records for more than 100,000 real estate parcels in Thornton Township. During property tax season, this woman travels to over a dozen communities, educating residents on how to understand and challenge their assessments and property tax bills. For her tireless work to help our communities as they shift through their frustrating property tax bills, she was awarded Township Officials of Illinois Elected Official of the Year in 2020. She truly has the heart of a community advocate. This amazing woman is a certified Illinois assessing officer. She brings us years of experience and continues to work diligently to provide residents with assistance regarding real estate tax information, exemptions, and general information about property in Thornton Township. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, Thornton Township Assessor Cassandra elston.
I can see who you were talking about. But thank you so much. I just love her. Then you have the most amazing mayor next to Don DeGray. I love both of them. Both of them are genuinely concerned about their residents, the constituents in their town. They have us out. Oh, you can't hear me. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Hello? So, like I was saying, you have really the most amazing mayor and clerk, too. I cannot leave Ms. Payne out. I love both of them. Like I said, the mayor is really genuinely concerned about her constituents and especially about these property taxes. As you know, everyone got their bills and they're really kind of high. And I have a slide here, but because there's so many people here and we don't have any more seats, I'm just going to go without the slide and just go right into it, if that's okay? Okay, so does everyone understand how we got to this point this year? Okay, so last year was a reassessment year. Reassessments take place every 3 years throughout all of Cook County. The Cook County assessor is responsible for 1.9 million parcels of land here in Cook County. So it starts on the north side. The following year is the city of Chicago. Then the following year is the south suburbs. And then the following year it goes back to the north suburbs. So what the Cook County assessor does is he looks at all the values of the properties to put a market value on them based on sales activity for the past 3 years. So if you have a lot of sales activity going on in your area, arm length sales, they could be foreclosures, if they're flipping of properties. We'll say the person buys the property for $40,000, guts the property out, add all the beautiful whistles and bells to it, puts it back on the market for maybe $190,000. This affects your value. Even though you didn't do anything to your house, you lived there, you kept it clean, you kept the lawn well manicured, these sales affect your home. So as there are more sales in the area, your value is going to increase. So the assessor looks at all of those values and comes up with a value for all the properties in that area. Last year, like I said, was the reassessment year. Notices were mailed out to all property owners in Cook County, giving you a description of your house, letting you know what your market value was and what your proposed new market value is going to be. Proposed is because it's not etched in stone. You were given a 30-day window in which to file an appeal. It had the deadline on the letter. letting you know that you can file a deadline to try to get the value lowered, thereby lowering the taxes. A lot of people didn't, and a lot of the value stayed the same. Excuse me, I'm getting kind of hoarse here. Excuse me. So the value that were placed on the properties last year due to this reassessment was payable and took effect on your second installment this year. Okay? If I lose anybody, please stop me. Also, on your second installment tax bill, you will note that there are a list of governmental agencies on there. I think it starts with the Mosquito abatement. Thank you. That's okay. So, yeah, so you have the Mosquito abatement, you have library, school district, you have Thornton fractional, you have all of the governmental agencies on the second installment tax bill. It has a list for 2022 and a list for 2023. You can compare, go line by line, year by year, and it will show where your increases came from. Right off the bat, the schools, if they want to update their computer room, their labs, they want to have more updated technology. If that is to happen, or if they want to add on square footage to an existing building, that's going to cause your taxes as well to go up. If the fire department, the police department need more money in their budget to operate, somebody's got to pay that, that's us, okay? So again, you can look at this tax bill, you can go line by line, it will show where your increases came from, it should show the percentage of the increase on this tax bill. Thank you, sweetheart. Another thing that happened with these tax bills is the tax rates decreased. So a lot of people noticed that they didn't get the same amount of money deducted for their exemptions. So whenever the tax rate decreases, then you're going to notice less off for your homeowner's exemption or your senior exemption, thereby causing you to pay more money as well. If any of those guys on that list say they need more money, then that tax rate will go up. Also on your tax bill, we have the state equalization factor, which is known as the multiplier. That number, our group of people, that's governed by the state. So if the state says that they need more money in their budget or their levy, then that equalization factor will increase, thereby increasing the dollar amount due. I'm happy that the mayor here is able to get businesses in the town, because we in Cal City don't have businesses like you guys do. And the businesses, as you can get the larger businesses in your area, they help to somewhat absorb some of that dollar amount that's due. So, I like to hats off for her, give her a hand. But I think she's always trying to get businesses here in Lansing to help you guys with this tax burden. And yes.
Before you move on, I want a direct question for that. But don't they get years of breaks for moving in, and then they move out when those years are over?
Some of the businesses, there are certain. Mr. Podgorski, would you like to speak?
I just wanted to say that because
It's certainly not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is
a great thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our village administrator, Mr. Dan Podgorski, and truth be told, Mr. Podgorski is the one that's responsible for the amazing economic development that Lansing is experiencing right now. And Cassandra hinted at it, no other suburb anywhere south of Chicago has been able to bring the businesses that Mr. Podgorski and the rest of our team, our staff, has been able to bring. But as an answer to your question, I think Mr. Podgorski can give a real simple answer very quickly.
So I won't get us off the track too much here. So Cook County has a tax incentive program. It's called Class 8. And what it does is it lowers the assessment on a commercial property from 25% down to 10%. That's utilized in a lot of cases where properties have been vacant
So again, the assessor looks at your taxes too high too. Looks at the past 3 years of sales activity. During COVID also, so I'll have to back up a little bit, he gave a COVID relief throughout the south suburbs, well, everywhere. That COVID relief was somewhere between, I believe, 6% and 12%. So he's taken back that COVID relief so we don't get that break. So we're getting hit with the impact from the reassessment. We're getting hit because the tax rates went down, and we're getting less off for the exemptions, okay? Cause you pay more. But right now, the Cook County Assessor's Office is open for the appeal process. We have until October the 21st by midnight if you decide to mail. You can go online and file an appeal. It's very simple. It's just asking you for your name, address, telephone number, and your email address. And you must be the owner on record in order to file this appeal. There are a number of reasons in which you can file an appeal. It lacks uniformity. It's over-assessed. You own a property and it caught on fire last year, or you just purchased a property and you can't move in it because it's vacant and uninhabitable. You can file an appeal based on that. So on the form, there's maybe about 6 to 8 different reasons where you can file an appeal, and your reasons for filing it. The Board of Review is another entity which opens after the Cook County Assessor's Office where you can file your appeal. Right now, the Board of Review is doing a pre-filing. We're also doing a pre-filing with the Board of Review as well. We take the form that you have, that information, transpose it over to the Cook County Board of Review and file that appeal with them. A lot of people like to pull their own comparables. Comparables are properties that's comparable to the ones that where you live, where you're filing this appeal. If that your house is brick, 1,600 square feet, then you're going to look for another home that's brick within the range of 1,600 square feet. Maybe 1,400 to 1,700. If yours is 62 years of age, you know, then you're looking for something maybe 52, 72 years of age. If you're not in an area where there's cookie cutters, meaning the homes are the same, the analysts downtown have a grid in the residential department where they can back into or up into value to come up with a comparable price where your value should be, okay? If you file an appeal, you get a decrease in value. That decrease is good till the next reassessment. A lot of people file an appeal when there's a reassessment. A lot of people file an appeal every year. The only thing that can happen is that the Cook County Assessor will send you a letter saying that per their findings, you're getting a no change, meaning they feel that your value or your property is comparable to other properties, or give you a decrease in value. Again, that stays the same for 3 years. If you're not happy with the no change, if you're not happy with the reduction that you got received from the Cook County Assessor's Office, then next year you file again. Hopefully you get a different agent that's reviewing your file, and hopefully you get a decrease. But again, a lot of people file every year. They cannot go up on the value of the property unless you've added square footage of heated livable area to that property and a permit is received by the Cook County Assessor's Office, okay? Along with the appeals, we have the exemptions. Exemptions were created to help shave off some of that dollar amount on the second installment tax bill. So your first tax bill, which is the blue bill, represents 55% of last year's taxes. There are no exemptions, no deductions, there's nothing on that tax bill. Whatever the Cook County Treasurer says that bill is, that's what it is. Any changes, like your exemption, if you file an appeal and have a reduction, all of that shows up on the yellow second installment tax bill. So now we're going to go off into the exemptions. The first exemption is a homeowner's exemption, and I hope everyone received their exemptions. If you didn't, talk to us before you leave. The homeowners, all the exemptions, you must own the property and you must live there. Your ID must reflect the address of the property where you're trying to get this exemption on. To figure out what an exemption would be for a homeowner's exemption, you would take the standard amount, which is $10,000, and you multiply that times whatever the tax rate is for that particular year. 10,000 times the tax rate, okay? That would give you a rough idea of what you would get off for that homeowner's exemption. The senior exemption, you have to be 65 in the tax year that we're paying. This year, we're paying last year's taxes, therefore you need to be 65 when? Yes, thank you. So you need to be born 1958 or prior to. There are a lot of seniors who have gotten rid of all the kids and they want to downsize in a house. They'll go out and get another house, a house that didn't even have an exemption on it. With the homeowners, you have to live there. If the exemption's not there, you have to live there for a full tax year. That would be January to January. And then in February, you would go and file for your homeowner's exemption. But if you buy a house and there's no exemption on it, and you're 67 years old, we can put that exemption on the property. But you will not get the homeowners until you're there for that full tax year. Okay? So the homeowner's exemption, the senior exemption, is 8,000 times the tax rate, whatever your tax rate is here. So that will give you an idea of what that is. Right now, the homeowner's exemption and the senior exemption automatically renews itself every year. So you don't have to worry about it unless you decide to take significant other off the title, or you add somebody to the title. Sometimes the computer doesn't recognize that and you might get kicked out, but you just come back in and reapply and we can get you back on the tax roll with your exemption. The next one is a senior freeze. Senior freeze is based on income, household income of $65,000 or less. Have to have 2 years of income showing that your income was $65,000 or less. That's your pension, Social Security, railroad pension. You go to the boat, you get lucky, and you get $25,000 instead of them taking it from you. You got to report that too, okay? So it's all income of everyone in that house. That exemption you have to apply for every year. You have to apply for it every year. The next one would be a disabled homeowners exemption. Disabled homeowners exemption where you have some underlying condition that keeps you from doing today what you could do last year. Last year you could walk a whole block, don't bust a sweat. You walk out your back door to the garage and you're barely making it, you might qualify for it. Bad back, that means there is a number of disabilities. There is a form that your physician would have to fill out, and that form is called a P-Tax 343. And it's a Cook County form. You can download it off the computer, or we have the forms here. You can take that form to your physician, have the tell the physician it was here, and the assessor talked about it, and you just want to know if you qualify for this program. That one is 2,000 times the tax rate. You would have the physician to fill it out. I think it's line 5 or 6 on that form. It asks the date in which your disability first started. Everybody likes to get refunds. You know, if the physician puts on there that you first became disabled, hypothetically speaking, in 2018, you know, we can fight for refunds for you for up to 3 years, okay? That one, once your name and your application attaches itself into the computer with Cook County, you'll receive a renewal in the mail. You just sign it and bring it back to us. You do not have to go back to the physician. The only time you have to go back to the physician with a new form is if for some reason it drops off your bill for 2 or 3 years, and we're starting all over again fresh, okay? Then the next one is a disabled veteran. Disabled veteran, at one time, you had to be 50% or greater for that program. Now it's 30%. If the veteran is 50% to 100%, then they're tax exempt up to a value of $250,000. Okay, so that's another one where you would file for every year. So with that one, we would of course need your ID. We would need a current.
Gave notice to tell me that my mortgage is going up $1,000. That is not something
No,
that
it's not.
a normal person who does not have all of this money in the bank can do. When we went out to purchase these homes and look for these homes, this is what we went to look for. We knew what was within our budget. But to allow this to continue to impact us, what is that going to do for our community? And what is that going to do for us? Because we're taking the hit. And it seems like the business owners are, oh, well, come bring your business here. But if you don't have anybody in the neighborhood to go to the business, it will do nothing. It will have no value.
Well, that was one of the questions that was presented to the Cook County Assessor when he was at TF North. His response was that the new values that have been placed on these properties is what the market is dictating, that there have been a number of sales, a lot of higher sales, and that's what caused our values to increase. Only thing I can tell you to do is file the appeal. There is power in numbers of people to complain to him, since this is his job, as far as to look at these values. I asked him the year before the reassessment, let me pick you up and drive you through Thornton Township. Thornton Township is not the same. We have areas like Harvey. We have Dixmoor. We have small homes in Thornton. I have to go sideways and they're very small. Let me take you around before you place these high values on these homes and you're taxing these folks out of their homes. But, it didn't happen. He had the reassessment. We tried. And the only thing that I can say is that we have more meetings where he comes out, the residents voice those concerns to him. Hopefully he will listen to, the homeowners. But again, I know, honey, make sure I'm not happy with mine. Make sure, and it's bad for like the new first-time home buyers. There were a lot of deals this year where the people went to closing. A new home buyer goes to a closing. This is my first home. They're happy. They got the tax amount that was on the old value instead of this new value. So now they go to a closing thinking that their taxes are going to be maybe $6,000, but because of this reassessment, it's what? $10,000, $11,000. They can't make that payment. So what happens? The deal falls apart at the table. So I do understand. We just have to somehow or another make our Cook County assessor understand.
Because I've been in my house 7 years. I didn't just purchase my house.
Yeah.
I've been in my house for 7 years. I don't care what the property value of the house is that has been sold in my area at that point. When I bought my house, these were my taxes. So for it to continuously increase and double and triple, I've seen my taxes go into double digits. I'm paying $16,000 a year for taxes. Now just imagine with a home what that is. That is absolutely ridiculous.
It's
And
ridiculous.
then you give me an escrow overage last year, and then come this year, I got an escrow shortage of $8,000. Somebody help me.
Yeah. And again, that was placed to the Cook County assessor. We have a property in South Holland that we're looking at, where the value jumped from $250,000 to $511,000. Why? Why? I think that is utterly ridiculous. That's insane. How is a person supposed to handle that kind of increase? Just like what you're saying. You know, if I could, I would, but I don't have anything. I can't change the values. All I can do is come here and explain to you guys the system that he has there and his reasoning as to how he arrived to those numbers. But again, please file the appeal, okay? We are open for the appeal process for the Cook County Assessor's Office, and we're doing a pre-filing for the Cook County Board of Review. In the back, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cassandra's getting to each of your questions as soon as she can, but in the meantime, could we please be polite to our neighbors and not speak? Thank you. Yes, sir.
We have anywhere from 64 to 200% increase out here in Thornton. There are a lot of land issues that were incorrect, where the land values double or almost triple. We have no site desirability that I know of where you have a special design or architect on your home and the land value will double, like from 10,000 to maybe 35 or 40,000. And the assessor is looking at those. We're giving those to him to reevaluate those. But if it doesn't matter what your percentage of increase was that you got, file the appeal. If you're a senior and you're on senior freeze and you're getting a dollar amount deducted off of your tax bill, I would advise you not to file an appeal, because remember, the freeze is based on the value of the property increasing. The more your value increases, the more you're going to see off of that freeze. If you're a baby freeze, you just start filing for it, and you haven't seen a dollar amount deducted off of the bill for the freeze. The freeze right now is protecting you against any increases in the value of the property. So you're on freeze, you've been on freeze for 3 years, you haven't seen anything, and last year was a reassessment. The value increased. The freeze is protecting you against that increase. Whatever the value was during the year in which you first applied, that's what your taxes will be based on. But again, doesn't matter if your value increased 20%, 30%, file the appeal. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the question I was going to ask is not the same question I have. You said you're on for the abatement, right? I've never seen anybody go by and spray anything, and this even with the law. The second thing is that you said that people come starting from this, and they buy houses for $40,000, you know, whatever they can get it for, and then they put all this money into it, and then they make our houses worth so much, so they say, we can't afford to fix our houses up because obviously we're struggling just to survive. I'm fighting cancer. My husband turned 65, he's now 70, but past that 65, we only got that. We had COVID, then I got cancer, been fighting. So I don't have the money to fix my house. And then my taxes, the money you say that you get for the senior, you get for if you're disabled, which I'm disabled. On top of it, it went down, and the same thing with the homeowners, it went down. So I had to come up with another $900, and how do you fight cancer, and then fight the system, and then these guys, they come in, I have 4 houses that are around me, they come in, they buy it for next to nothing, they put all this money in it, and then I'm supposed to, pay something, I'm being bought out of my house, and I'm sure all of us are, if we have people come in, because you know what, there's a conglomerate that's going around in these companies, and they're buying them up, and they're saying, here, you want to sell your house, you want to sell your house. People don't want to sell their houses, but they can't afford to live here anymore because the taxes keep going up. So what can you do?
And all we need to do, like I said, is file the appeal. I don't know if the mayor wants me to try to get Larry Rogers or the assessor or anybody out here to break it down more to you. All I can tell you is that there's a regression menu that they use, there are computer software programs that they use when looking at these values, and I totally understand what you're saying. These values go up when the tax rate goes down, the amount of your exemption decreases, and I know a lot of us, if we're used to seeing, $2,300 deducted off a bill, and then all of a sudden you get a tax bill and you only get $1,900 off, and you're paying more, you know, you're like, what?
Well, I
What's
was on
going on?
hold for 2 hours with them, because I finally found the form that you guys sent out. But I was fighting for my life, where I didn't know you guys sent it out, because I missed it. And, the one that says that, you know, the taxes went up on the house. So then when I find it, 2 hours, yeah, for 2 hours, I wait on the line, you guys said, you can't do anything about it. So then he sent me the form, I sent it in to you guys, I did everything I was, I still never heard anything back. I just think, you know, we're doing what you guys tell us to do, and then there's no recourse, like they've done us over there. I mean, what the heck is, we're standing up, we're fighting for this, this is our home. You know, I'm a first time homeowner, and guess what, you know what, I think I won't be able to finish paying for it because there won't be any money.
That's, like I said, that is the argument. I tell him exactly how you guys feel. I've told him, we feel as though you're trying to tax us out of our homes.
Yes, exactly.
We could not afford the last increase from the last, I'm sorry, the Cook County assessor, Fritz Cady. He's elected. So your argument is, you know, is everyone's argument. And I feel as though, and I get the same thing too. I'm the Cook County assessor. I don't get a decrease. I own my home for maybe 15 years. I think I was only able to get one successful decrease. I don't get a discount. I get a full tax bill just like everyone else. And I do understand. I feel the pain.
They gave me 1 year to my husband, a year and a half. They gave me 1 year of the freeze, and then that was it. And then it paid, yes, and he turned 65 a year and died. So they gave it to me. But then after that, now I'm still going up and up and up. And it's, you know, okay, but I've been there for 23 years. 23 years I've been paying on my home. And now I'm not even gonna be able to finish. I know.
I understand that, just the information on the meeting, not my expectations, nothing happens today.
The only thing that I have to say is that you will be afforded the opportunity to file an appeal. We have paperwork here, if you want to wait to fill out the paperwork for that. We submit everything to Cook County. We fill out the paperwork, your file that's need to be submitted to Cook County, we send it to them, and then it's left up to the assessor's office, if you get a decrease in value or not, or
Point of clarification, point 2 on there says the value of these properties is not determined on an individual basis, but rather by a mass appraisal system. So what does an individual appeal do?
Yeah.
the individual appeal, but when you file your appeal, the residential analyst will look at your property, look at the description, look at the value that's been placed on your property. They will look for other comparable properties within a mile radius, compare your value with theirs. If your value is higher, they'll take the value down. So they'll compare.
But I'm understanding, maybe it's a feedback for me.
Okay.
Our properties were determined, our taxes were determined on a mass appraisal system.
Right.
Mass, right? If I submit an individual appeal, and no one else does, or maybe 5 of us do, more than likely, that layperson you just mentioned is going to say most of the properties still are of the same value. So again,
A lot of them did go on the last reassessment, which made it hard to find comparables that were lower.
so solution,
Yeah.
I'm a solution. Are you saying or advocating for everyone in this room to file an appeal? Because that seems to be the only way for us to get some type of traction to lower our taxes.
No,
If you're on the senior freeze, you're getting a salary.
it's not just Lansing, it's all of
Hello? Okay. You want to know if the seniors that are on freeze should file an appeal. Again, if you're on the senior freeze program and you're getting a dollar amount deducted off of that bill, it's suggested that you not file an appeal. You might wind up paying more money because the value's not going to go down past your base year. Okay? And again, your question, I can't give you any immediate solution. All I can tell you is give you your options. What you can do through the Cook County Assessor's Office. What you can do through the Cook County Board of Review.
So I've heard that solution several times.
Yes.
Which is file an appeal. Those three words, right? File an appeal.
Make sure that
But
you got your
again, I'm looking at how it was appraised in the first place, which is a mass appraisal. So if I file an appeal by myself, or maybe just two of us, in this room full of resident homeowners, more than likely, my appeal will be denied. Right? So I'm going to go to point four. Please, there's tax rates and levies are set by municipalities and local taxing bodies. Can you give us a little
Okay, so he is,
about that process?
young man is referring to tax rates and levies are set by municipalities and the local taxing bodies. Again, on your yellow second installment tax bill, it gives a breakdown of all the governmental agencies that control that amount due on that bill. So if the schools say they need more money in their budget to operate, if the libraries, if the police, fire department says they need more money in their budgets to operate, then you got more money that's getting paid into the levy. All of that is broken down on your tax bill. It shows you how much you paid to those various agencies in 2022, opposed to what you paid into for 2023. Okay? I hope that answers your question.
It answers my question, but it was really about the individual appeal versus the
But,
mass appeal.
yes, see, he uses a mass a regression menu supposedly. He said that he purchased some computer program software that's supposed to put these properties in uniformity, but it kind of, I think, distorted them, took them out of uniformity.
Quick on the land plan. I mentioned that he uses an algorithm
Yeah.
to determine these mass appraisals, right? But you also stated that you want to have him come out and drive them around, right? So I'm trying to figure out how much of that is subjectivity in terms of his ability to make decisions on our taxes.
Well, I thought it would be fair to drag around to these various towns, you know, talk to mayors, let them know that we're going through it, so you can see that in one town where there may not be any businesses, we're going to say that they have a number of boarded homes or vacant homes, and maybe a couple across the street. Why should their value be the same as areas where their homes are flourishing and the values are increasing?
So what I hear you saying that he has some decision-making power, right? I'm sorry, he has some decision-making power, because if it were me, if I were you, and I knew that Fritz didn't have any type of subjective decision-making power, I don't need for him to ride around, because he's gonna say it's the algorithm. But if is it half the algorithm and half Fritz, or is it all of the algorithm and none of Fritz? I just need clarification.
Well, I just did.
Thank you.
I just did that and offered that to him to show him again that all Thornton Township is not the same. All these values should not be the same, should not go up like they did. You know, and again, when we had the last reassessment before this one, people couldn't afford that reassessment. What makes you think that they can afford this one? Okay, so that was the reason. I called myself trying to step out there to show him this. Okay? No. Only way he can come back, I'll be right to you, honey, is that you added square footage of heated livable area of your home and they picked it up on a permit. That's the only way. So, again, whatever the value is, it would stay the same until the next reassessment. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Right, see, what I find ironic is, when you gave the first example about a new person coming in, pay $40,000
purchased originally the property was probably $40,000. So they were taxed on that $40,000. But then when they went in and vetted it out, it increased the value of that property and our home because the mass appraisals. Mass appraisals. You can live in your home and you can keep the grass manicured, you keep the inside of the house clean, but your value because of the sales of other properties is going to have an impact on your property, on all the homes because of that one home, yes, or two. So, did they just miss 1 year of exemption, or was there ever a history? It could be that that owner passed that was applying for it, no. You might be able to talk to your attorney to see if he will talk to the seller's attorney to update the exemption on their behalf, then it'll just carry on over to you. That they left behind, yes. Then that way, okay, so let's do it this way. You purchased the house 3 years ago. I'm saying, hypothetically speaking. And the person that owned the home got sick. Maybe he had dementia, Alzheimer's, it was a senior, possibly. They forgot to file. Or maybe they sent their paperwork down to the county by mail. The county didn't get it, the county is not going to reach out to them and tell them, hey, we did not receive your paperwork. So what we try to do is tell the new owner to see if your attorney will get in touch with the seller's attorney. If they will come back and apply for those missing years that they didn't get. It would behoove them to get their money that they didn't get because they didn't file the exemption. That way, when you go back in, there is a history of an exemption. Then you're able to file, piggyback off of theirs, instead of waiting for a full tax year. It depends on what the analyst finds. If the analyst gets your appeal, they're going to look at the age, the exterior construction, and the square footage of your property. They're going to look for other comparable properties with the same or within a range. They're going to look at your market value and compare it to those other properties. If those values are lower than yours, then they will bring it down to match theirs. Another thing is, if you guys know, or your kids know some of everybody. People you don't think they know. They know a real estate agent or a broker. You can go to that real estate agent or a broker and ask them to give you some comparable properties. Ask them if they're going to charge you, they'll get it to you free. You can also go online to like realtors.com, Redfin, and pull information on homes that have sold within the past 3 years. And they have the information on there as far as the square footage is concerned, the exterior construction of the home. You can also use those for comps if you can find something that's sold for less than what yours is valued at. Okay? So she's talking about one property straddled across two parcels of land. She feels as though that she's being assessed at 100% on both parcels. No. So what happens is the assessor's office will receive a permit. Will receive a permit, and it'll give those 2 index numbers or 3 index numbers. A field person will go out and measure how much of that property sits on each parcel of land. Whatever the percentage is, it has to add up to 100%. 60% of the house can be on one number, 40% can be on the other, it could be 50-50, it could be 90% on one, or 10% on the other.
Thank you.
Yeah. The system does not break it out. When you go to the assessor's office, if you go to the Cook County Assessor's Office or our office, there's a menu that we can look at to tell you how much of that house is sitting on each parcel. We can look at it and let you know. If you can, when you file your appeal, you can write it on the back and we can look it up and let you know. She wants to know what we're looking for when you do your comparable. What you're looking, no. The assessment is based on square footage of heated livable area, not the number of rooms in that structure. Then take a tape and do length times width times the number of floors. So what you're looking at is the square footage. You're looking at the age and the exterior construction. And you're also looking at the land because some homes have more land than others.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen, if we all talk at once, Cassandra can't hear the person that's asking the question, and none of the rest of us can hear the question or the answer. So please, let's try to be a little quiet while Cassandra still has the floor. Thank you.
You know, the lady up here.
All townships have different filing dates. I don't know if Bloom is doing a pre-filing or not.
They're closed.
Okay.
They're closed.
Are we taking?
They're closed.
Oh, they're closed? Oh, Bloom Township is closed, so that's probably why they're not taking them.
Go to the website and see it.
Okay. So what you can really do to find out if your township is open with the Cook County Assessor's Office, you go to Cook County Assessor. You're going to look for appeals and deadlines. You're going to look for Bloom Township. You're going to look for Thornton Township, whatever township you reside in. It will give you the date in which that township is going to be open for the appeal process. It will also give you a deadline date. If you're in Thornton, the assessor's office is open now. Everyone in Thornton Township is probably going to file an appeal. Therefore, the board is going to open late for this process. So for the board, I would say you have at least a good 2 months. But look online, board review, and again, you're going to look for appeals and deadlines. And you're going to look for your township, and it'll give you the date in which you can file the appeal, or if you can lose that opportunity. your money.
Cassandra, this lady's had her hand up a long time.
So I have two questions. One is the assessor, is it Chris? Yes. Is he an elected official? Yes, ma'am. We're asking about him specifically. Okay. Yeah, so we need to be looking at that. And then secondly, with this new increase, should I be expecting that in the future, next year? Okay, I can pay the difference this year. I may not be able to pay that next year, so I need to know now what is my household market because I don't know what's going to go for the value that I have in my house today.
Okay, so she wants to know if she should start hacking up now. If 3 years from now, when there's another reassessment, her value's gonna go up. Mayor knows that I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know. It
It's
depends
not
on.
gonna happen next year, Cassandra.
No, it's not gonna happen next year. 3 years from now. 3 years from now. Everything is for the next reassessment. We're on a triennial basis, so every 3 years. Yes, ma'am. You know, and again, it's based on sales activity. It depends on what the budgets, the needs are.
I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
You increased the
No,
taxes again.
people need to know, they want to know if this is going to happen again on the next. It's a good question. It's a valid question. Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is Flynn Rush, and I reside here in Lansing Community. I work for the Cook County Assessor under Joe Barrios for 10 years. And I was a community outreach specialist. I traveled all 38 townships throughout Cook County, doing similar to what Cassandra's doing. I thank you, Cassandra, for coming out for this informational. But this is putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, basically. The Southland and South suburbs are on life support. For properties to be assessed and go up 54%, 70% is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. When I was traveling around doing exemption outreaches and things like that and appeals, I was always astounded how the South suburbs have 21, 22, 24% tax rates. And in the city is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If my memory serves me correctly, which it does, the former assessor who I worked under, Joe Barrios, got voted out of office because he was over-assessing the southern part of Cook County to subsidize the northwest suburbs, and that's why he got voted out. If you remember, the Chicago Tribune did a story of him called The Great Divide, and that's why he got voted out of office. Fritz K. got elected on the premise that he was progressive and that he would change things. He has not changed things. He continued. And when I see him on the news, he's over-assessing. He said that the reason why individuals' tax bills have gone up so much is because we made a mistake at the assessor's office. We made a mistake. They're making mistakes. They're inept. We have to quit suffering in silence. Okay, I believe in the taxing bodies and the levies and everything for schools. My kids go to school out there in Lansing for the mosquito abatement. But there's a deeper problem. People, and ma'am, I feel for you, the lady that had cancer and her husband passed. People should not have to pick up because someone decides to remodel their home and they put $200,000 in it and you pay $40,000 for yours. That is not acceptable. People need to speak up, speak out, and speak volumes to change this. Vote him out of office when the time comes. And like I said, Cassandra, I think people come out. But let me just say this. Fritz K needs to be out here. And I have Fritz's number. I'm going to call him and say, Fritz, you need to be out here to make a change. Okay? And I'm out. And so, because, yeah, no, I can't do that. But listen, I thank Cassandra for coming out, but this is just unacceptable. And Fritz went on record to say it's because of COVID and because so many businesses closed down here in Lansing businesses close down, so the homeowners have to eat up a lot of those taxes. That's unfair also. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing businesses, and sir, for bringing businesses to Lansing. But that's unfair because of COVID, that the homeowners have to eat up, you know, these taxes and everything. Yes, we have new businesses coming in, but the people just want to be treated fairly. I'm also running for trustee of Thornton Township in February 2025, and I want to work with Cassandra and fight for my fellow Southland and Lansing residents to lower these property taxes and even bring a federal oversight committee in. They sit up here and talk about that mass appraisal system. We want to know what does that mass appraisal system consists of, instead of just telling us it's a mass appraisal system. What's the nuts and bolts of it? So continue to talk to your elected officials in Springfield, because that's where the 3-digit enumerator comes from, that they do the calculations for the tax bill. Why does it fluctuate? Why does it go up? Why does it go down? It should be a freeze across the board. So just continue to come to these meetings, and let's get the assessor where the problem really lies, because he's over assessing the hell out of the Southland. Thank you.
I forgot, someone back here asked about mosquito abatement. Okay, she said she can be paying this mosquito abatement, nobody been out here to spray my house. So what you can do is go online. I'm not sure if the Southwest comes out this far, but you're gonna look for the number for the mosquito abatement and just call them and let them know that you're having a mosquito problem out here, that they're being cited. We do have at the Southwest mosquito abatement, we have 2 biologists. Those biologists, I've been with them because I wanted to know, because I thought mosquitoes were mosquitoes. I thought they were just pesky, they bite you and leave a mark. So I found out there's female, there's a male, there's different larvas for each one, different, sprays for them. What they also will do, if there is an area that has tested for West Niles or any other infectious disease because of the mosquitoes, we notify that area to let them know that a test has been performed, has been conducted, that there was 2 recycles, whatever it is, of the West Niles or whatever that disease or infection is, and let that resident or that area know what we're about to do. But call the mosquito abatement. If you have a problem with mosquitoes, let them know that you talked to trustee Elston with the Southwest Mosquito Abatement so they can come out here and spray. And again, if you have, we got flower pots, we have swimming pools, little pools for the kids. Make sure that you empty those waters out because those become breeding areas for mosquitoes. Okay? But again, call. Okay? And if they don't come, you can reach me at, what's the number? 708-596-6040, extension 3140. The malls, if they're open and they're conducting business, those are the ones that help us with the taxes, eat off some of that tax burden.
So in a tight knit city that River Oaks don't have no stores, we barely have even grocery stores. We paying all this money, but it's empty mall, but nobody.
That city is now in the process of purchasing the mall.
But are they gonna get some stores to come in?
They're gonna get stores to come in. They want to put in entertainment, some kind of activities that's for family oriented, for your kids, for you and the kids. They want to try to put in a hotel and then put in name brand grocery store.
So like the casino that they build, that's not Thornton Township, so we don't benefit from that in no type of way.
We are supposed to, when I was at a meeting, we are going to benefit some, but not like it would if it was right there in the town, in Calumet City. I can't give you the total dollar amount. You call me, I have to want to know if both houses have to be over 65? No.
They online?
Again, we'll say that you purchased a house and during that time you were single. No, I'm just giving this different example, because we have a lot of this. But then after you purchased your house, you met your wonderful friend, and later on you guys got married. But you never added her name onto the title. And she becomes 66 before you. All she needs to do is to come in with her birth certificate, ID, and a marriage certificate. Because Cook County sees individuals as one instead of two now. Okay?
We've been getting a little bit closer, and then you get your little tiny social security, and then you're not here. So why are not increasing, the 65,000?
There was conversation of them increasing the amount to 75 last year, but we haven't heard as many changes yet. Yeah, so if Cook County assessor comes up with that, it has to go before the assessor proposal. Okay, she wants to know what the percentage of disability is for VA. You have to be 30% or greater. 50% to 100, you're 100% exempt for taxes up to a value of $250,000. If the veteran is not 30%, they're less than 30%, then file for the disabled homeowners exemption, at least you'll still get something on it. Okay? Okay. Your house.
I feel like my taxes shouldn't be, I don't mind paying taxes.
Okay, so do you feel as though the value that the assessor has placed on your house is what your house is really worth? That's your tax rate.
But they're taxing the property.
Yeah.
So what, I mean,
Your
okay,
story.
that's what I needed to write now. But
feel-
my house is not the size because that house is not the size.
You can do that. If you have that information, you can use it as your comparable. So if the other house across the street is the same as yours,
But I don't know how much that they assess theirs at.
you're going to go to the Cook County portal. You're going to put the address in there, or you can put the index number, and it will give you a history of that property. It will give you the assessed value, it will give you the total value, it will give you the square footage of the house, it will give you the square footage of the land. It will even give you,
The house is based on not how big your property is.
it's based on the house and the square footage of land.
So,
So it's broken down. It's broken down to the assessment of the land, and then it's broken down to the improvements. Improvement is just a word to describe the house, doesn't mean that you did anything to it. It's just, that's the word that they use to describe the building. So anything that's attached to the land, you're going to get assessed for, be it a garage, be it a shed, if you got asphalt, if you pour out some concrete, you know, you're going to,
I can't afford it.
I don't know if everybody else can get these flyers in the mail about people who are trying to help us. Are those scams?
Yes.
my group says scam. So what that is those companies, it's tax reps. The tax reps get a copy, or they can go to the portal and they can look to see if your value increased. They can look to see if you got your deduction for your exemption. So I'm a rep, I go to the portal, I see for 10 years, you got your exemption, then all of a sudden for the past 2 or 3 years, you didn't get an exemption, oh yes, I'm going to send you a letter so I can try to see if you qualify for those exemptions, so I can get some money off of you for helping you to get them. But the deal is that you do not have to pay a tax rep for that. All you need to do is go to the Cook County Assessor's Office, go to Bloom Township, go to Thornton Township, and we will complete your file for you that will go to Markham Courthouse. If you need that adjusted bill in your hand right then, we'll give you everything that you need. You'll take that over to Markham. They will give you the adjusted bill or the certificate of error, which one it winds up being. You do not have to pay the tax rep for that. I hope we don't have no tax reps here that throwing darts at me. Pardon me? Yeah, they know that this is a reassessment, that last year was a reassessment year. They know that these values have increased ridiculously, so they are going to send letters out to everyone asking if they can represent you in filing an appeal. They're going to do the same thing that you're doing, okay? And again, if you want to take that form with you tonight because you want to do a narrative is a short story. A short story. You just type something up on the paper, or you can go to the Cook County Assessor's website. You look at forms, and it'll have a form on there that's called a narrative. And then you place your story on that narrative. I feel as though my house is overassessed. Comparable properties, such as mine, that are same as mine, are assessed $20,000 less. You're going to put down those addresses or those property index numbers as your proof. No, did they send you a letter with the docket number? So if you file an appeal, they should send you a letter or send you an email. That email will give you a tracking number or a docket number. That way they can track your appeal so you can add on additional information or... Okay, so then you can make a copy of the letter, do your narrative, put your story into that narrative, and then send it back down to the assessor's office before the deadline. Okay, and another thing that you guys can do that will affect your mortgage payment is that, you know, your taxes, your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance, all of this is grouped, it's lumped into one. And what we've noticed at the office is that a lot of these homeowner insurance policies have increased. So you might want to look at your policy to see if it's increased, and if it's increased or not a lot, then you might want to start searching for another carrier. Okay? Yes, sir.
Paying taxes at all up to $250,000.
So some good news when filing a appeal, if there's a certificate of error, Cassandra mentioned, if you feel you haven't filed for your exemption, like the homeowner, the senior freeze that you missed those years, you can get what they call a certificate of error, where they'll go back like 3 years, and you'll get a check in the mail for those years that you missed filing your exemption. The Cook County Treasurer will send you out a check for those years that you missed. Is that still correct? Yeah. It's called a certificate of error. So make sure you check. When you get your second installment, the yellow bill, make sure you check and make sure your exemptions are on that bill. And if you feel you missed prior years, you can go file that certificate of error for those years past and get paid from the treasurer's office. A lot of people have money sitting in the treasurer's office and they haven't recouped. And when I was working there, I helped people get back millions throughout the county because they never filed for their exemptions. Thank you.
Piggybacking off of what he said, we're going to say that you missed 3 years of your exemption. We process the paperwork for you, send you over to Markham Courthouse to the assessor's office. They give you a certificate of error. So we're going to say that you missed 2022. Don't go shopping with that money. Don't go shopping. You got to send one of those checks to a mortgage company. Because the mortgage company is already saying that you have the shortage in your escrow. 9 out of 10, if it's not a reassessment, is because you didn't get your exemption. So we're going to say that Cook County Assessor says that the exemption that you missed was worth $1,300. When they give you that certificate of error in the mail, that most recent one, you're gonna call your mortgage company and tell them, hey, I got a higher tax bill because I didn't get my exemption deducted off of my second installment tax bill. Can you honor this bill, the new bill that Cook County Assessor has just issued me? So most of the companies, they will work with you. But when you get that most recent check, you're gonna call the mortgage company back. And you're gonna get that person's name, their ID number, or something. Because you're gonna tell them, I got the check, I spoke to whoever it was 2 or 3 months ago. They said you guys will honor it. I want to submit this check to the mortgage company, and I want it to go towards the principal. Because if you don't, they're gonna place it towards your interest. And by the time you realize it and you call them, they'll tell you nothing they can do for you. So make sure that, and I mean, if you have certificate of errors, refunds coming for prior years, then yeah, you go shopping with those. But take that current bill, that check, and send it to the mortgage company, because what you want them to do is put that in your escrow account and adjust your escrow. You want them to bring it down. Okay? Yes,
Is that what you're saying, the C&E on the form? Is this what we check?
no, you're going to check current appeal. So the only time that you were going to worry about a certificate of error, if there's anyone here that's filed an appeal because you feel as though the assessor is assessing you for more square footage, or if the assessor is assessing you for a brick home when it's really framed, then that's when you would check the that box, because you want to get that money back from the overpayment due to that property characteristic. All right, that answer your question? Got it? Okay, anyone else? Are we through? Okay.
I got a question. I have a question.
Okay, this guy raised his hand, and I'll be right with you, okay?
I went online and found out I had a refund.
Okay.
How come they don't apply it to the taxes?
No, they're not going to do that.
And I got to prove that I paid it,
Yes.
but they have record of it.
Yes, I know it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. You pay taxes, Cook County Treasurer collects it, but when there's a refund, you gotta prove again that you paid it in order to get whatever that refund is. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Paper trail? Okay, yes, sir.
If I want to appeal for a senior police for 2021, do I use this one also?
No, we have forms up here, the young ladies have their forms, okay? We have the forms for the exemptions, if we came with everything. We knew you was gonna be here. Oh, you gonna come see me, okay, come on. So we have all the forms here. We have the appeal forms and we have the exemption forms, okay? We try to make sure we have everything that you guys might need. All right, so is that it? So we can help you to do the paperwork now? Yes, ma'am. Well, they'll have referendums, I guess. They'll have referendums. So you can vote on it, but I mean, again, you know, like you say, you want to, say, you know, add something to the meeting, they can do that. Because the kids need it to enhance the education. Okay? So I am going to give the mic to Mr. Perry. Okay, so, again, I would like to thank, Mayor. Love her to death for the invite. We do have the forms here. If you have any additional questions, if it's something that you wasn't clear on, please let us know so we can clear that up for you. And again, thank you so very much.
Until we look up.
I figured it. Yeah, she had a lot of slides she decided to use. So I'm like, I'll just go to that one. That's the one I wrote.
Yeah,